whether it's personal, physical, doesn't matter. I'll find someone for you if I can't answer it or if I can't help you. Last week I worked with one of the members of the community on finances. There's nothing to do with a deal. So just feel free to reach out. Rusty and Mike and Rick, there were mainly one script issue that came up last week that we didn't talk about in the high six calls. And I'd love to hear how people answer this, and you guys can bat this around a little bit. And maybe I'll leave you guys on that, and then you can talk other scripts. Actually, that might be a good transition. And that was, I was critiquing a call, and it was, I have to speak to my spouse. There's nothing wrong with that when the seller says that to you. I have to speak with my spouse or my partner or whatever. But there's a couple things you might want to script in there. Does anyone have any thoughts on that, script-wise, before I tell you my simple thoughts? What you would say or should say. Ken, is that a hand raise? Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm thinking it would be good to try to invite the spouse on at that particular time, and if that won't work, schedule a time when you can be on when they have that dialogue, if at all possible. Yeah,
that's one of the things I wrote down. That was the very first thing I wrote down, because I even say it in a facetious way to him. Like if Rusty was my seller, I'd say, Rusty, I've been doing this X amount. You could say whatever years, or our community has been doing it 75 years, whatever you use. And I promise you, for you to regurgitate what I just spent a minute telling you is not going to go over that great. And they usually chuckle. So I'd love to have a call with both of you. That's spot on, Ken. The second thing is if they say they have to talk to them, I kind of want to know what do you have, like what part of it did you want to talk to them about? Like, cause then the real truth comes out if they have an objection or not. Like, what is it you got to talk to them about? And then maybe you get the real objection, but better would be a joint call. Coaches, any other thoughts on this? Just because I heard it come up in a live call.
Yeah, I'm having that issue, right? You know, I almost had an AO and then the wife shot it down. And so I'm trying to get them on the line together. To go over it with her, because she just said, she probably doesn't understand it. So you gotta get them all on the same page.
I guarantee you she doesn't, right? That's like a given, or she'd do it. Interesting. I want to leave you guys on that. Maybe we get some script conversation going, you guys. We didn't have Deb explain it, but didn't Deb say on the call last week that she used something from, I don't know, office hours or something? It was a script related, and I never asked what it was.
It was the one about, I'd like to see if it's a good deal, or if it works for both of us. Is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Oh, just how to ease into the questions?
Yeah, because sometimes I jump into the questions and then I never have qualified it like that, and so they get a little. Sometimes they pull back a little bit. So gives me permission to start asking, and then they'll say yes or no. And the one person that I did ask that I used it on so far was very like, yeah, like go for it. I was like, oh, how positive he was. It made me feel like, oh boy, a lot of people probably would answer that way. So.
Well, it sounded like you were just, because you were more conversational.
Yes, that's true.
It's like, this goes back to the friend thing again. We talked about this morning, but we didn't talk about it in light of this. But like, if you called your friend and didn't say much, just started rifling questions at him, be like, what are you on? Like, what's going on here? Right? So you can make it conversational, like you would your neighbor or your friend or your family member.
Well,
always.
I also told Deb that it's almost like you're semi-pulling back immediately. Like, hey, I don't even know if this is going to get fit yet, but can I ask you a couple questions to see if it is? Right? So you're kind of semi-pulling back immediately. And then Janice said something, I don't know if Janice, you're on here, about at the very end, you should be at the very end of every conversation. What are you going to do if it doesn't sell, right? So I posted something in Scripts channel, and that was the very last thing, you know, because he's like, oh, I'm gonna put it back on the market in January, hoping that the market's going to take off. And I said, okay, well, in January you have a realtor. What are you going to do if it doesn't sell? And he's like, I don't know, Janice, if you remember what he said, but I think it was something to the effect of, John.
Yeah. In my market.
Oh, the market's going to jump, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's going to go. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, in my market, that's always their last thought is, you're asking me to tie myself down for 36 months. I'm very sure that it's going to go up by then, and it's not to my favor if I tie myself down, all that. So I just think in your call, he just made, I need my money for my next house, the reason why he didn't want to do it. But I didn't buy that, because he would have said that in the first call.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be renting if he couldn't wait.